You ever wake up and think, man, there's got to be more than just going through the motions? I get it. We have been there. By the way, I'm Anthony.
I am Crystal.
And today on the On Mission podcast, we are talking about what it really looks like to live with purpose, and really the phrase that started this whole thing, on mission. And so we're going to break it down. What does it mean and why does it matter? And how we can live that out and see where we go. You ready to get into it, baby?
Yeah, let's go.
Well, let's break this down and what it really means, what we mean, I guess, by living on mission. And one thing we've discovered over the years is the importance of clarifying terms.
Yeah. Defining what, because whoever's listening today might define on mission differently than we do, or what can it look like?
Exactly. And so we want to just take this episode today and just kind of break that down where we're coming from, because it's really probably the foundational of everything that we would talk about in the future of when we say on mission, what we really mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you've just said, everyone, if we took a poll of everybody, they would probably have their own definition of on mission. And so let's break that down, what we mean.
So, what do you mean by on mission? What does that mean to you?
All right. So one thing we've discovered and how we break this down is the importance of coming back to not just a surface answer of a bunch of list of to-dos, like, oh, here's what we do, this is on mission. But it's the foundation is an identity
Mm-hmm. Who we
perspective,
are.
who we are. And obviously we've mentioned we are people of faith, so therefore our identity is going to be rooted in that, because who you are as an individual. We could break that down. When you hear that, when someone asks you who are you, how are you going to answer that?
Yeah, that's a hard question because it's easy to lead with what you do. I am a mom, but that's not who I am. So I am a child of God. Since I'm a faith person, that's how I would respond.
Exactly. So who you are is made up of what like we said, as a child of God, and that then flows into and affects what I'm going to do. And
Mm-hmm.
so individuals may try to put labels on you, and this is why I believe it's so important for individuals to understand who they are as an individual
Mm-hmm.
and where their true identity is. And in reality, it's an identity crisis that a lot of people are. They don't know who they are, so then they are going through their life, and whatever the culture says, that's what I'll become, and that becomes
Mm-hmm.
their identity. You look at an athlete. An athlete, if their identity is found in what they do, there's going to be a point in their life when they're not going to be able to catch a football.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be able to run a 40-yard dash. Then what? You
Mm-hmm.
know, and we've seen that happen with a lot of individuals too, in our lives, that their identity can be found in what they did. And then when they can't do it, they're at a crisis moment. So it's so important in our lives to understand, as we've discussed a lot of times, who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And people may put labels on us. People may put labels on you. They may try to control that narrative.
Mm-hmm.
But man, when you have an identity that is rooted in principle, it's very hard for those labels.
Yeah, they don't stick as much then because you are rooted in who God made you to be. So they may criticize you, they may praise you. That's not your identity. So you can allow those labels to fall off because you know who you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then when that comes down to is when we have that identity as that foundation. It's not something like you're out there trying to search for and to find. It's actually then something that you actually just live out. And so does that make sense?
Yeah. So would you say that is the first step to living on mission is you don't know what you should be doing unless you know who you are?
Well, that's how we define
Yeah.
it. This is given this explanation of where we are coming from when we say on mission, because yeah, it starts with identity before anything. And then out of that is then knowing, okay, if like we say, we are a child of God. That's our identity. That's who I am. I know what he says I am.
Mhm.
Then it comes to finding what is the purpose of why I'm on this earth. Because we say this a lot of times that we believe we're placed on purpose. We're on this earth on purpose for a purpose.
Mhm. So we all kind of have the same calling, so to speak, to make
Maybe,
the world a better place.
perhaps, maybe just sort of a different terminology. Yeah. Why are you on this earth today? What's your purpose?
I would That's a big question, but to just say something in this moment, I would say it is to show the world what God is like in my home, whoever I encounter,
Mhm.
whether you're in the workplace, in your home, your business, wherever you are, that would be the purpose I would take on.
Okay. No, and that is rooted obviously in your identity
Hmm.
of who you are and then what you do. And then I guess I heard a framework. We like frameworks, don't
Hmm.
we? This is that there's identity, there's calling, and then assignment.
Hmm.
We've broken this down many times. And once again, folks, this is our perspective of what we mean by on mission and how we are living that out. And but that framework of identity, calling, assignment was actually very freeing,
Hmm.
I think, for us because it made sense of what we were experiencing.
Hmm.
And so we've already talked about the identity, who we are. We now a calling is not something that really changes either.
Hmm.
It's we grew up in a tradition that I think that put calling and assignment together. They
Hmm.
didn't differentiate those, and that's what's caused a lot of misunderstanding or to be misunderstood. Well, you're called to be if you're called to be a stay-at-home mom and all of a sudden you take a job, oh, you're not being true to your calling.
Hmm.
And it's like, no. Or the person's called, they're called to be a pastor and then they're not pastor anymore, so they
Hmm.
must be fallen away from God. And it's like, no, there's a calling in life that is, I believe, universal, at least where we have landed on this.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
What would you say? How would you define calling?
calling is the purpose of why you're on this earth.
Hmm.
That's how I think we kind of come to.
So, what's your calling?
My calling is to guide leaders and families and communities into transformation.
Hmm.
And I can do that through a lot of different ways and a lot of different environments. So the identities, I'm a child of God.
Hmm.
My calling is, to guide leaders and families and communities into transformation. So the assignment can take me to a church. The assignment can take me to the boardroom of a corporate company.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter. The assignment changes,
Hmm.
but the calling, and it's changed in words over the years.
Yeah.
I remember for one time it was to equip and empower people to live out their purpose, and now it's kind of evolved into what it is right now. But
Hmm.
that, my, you know, the understanding that the assignment changes
Hmm.
because our back, hey, I've been a pastor, been in a marketplace. uh, how can he do both of those things? And I struggled with that for a long time.
Hmm.
I know you obviously were there with me and like, okay,
Yeah.
this isn't making sense.
So for someone listening today and they're wondering like, I wonder what my calling is, how can they unlock that in their life or have clarity so they just know like this is my calling, or maybe you could say purpose.
Mhm.
So maybe they know who they are, maybe they've got the identity part. So now calling, how do we unlock that? And is that something we need to wrestle with for a time? And maybe over time it shifts?
The only thing that I'm sure about is our journey.
Mhm.
I know how it has been for us is
Yeah.
yes, it's been one of wrestling. It's been one of
Mhm.
okay, uh, and I think we probably had a moment in time where it was like, oh, we're afraid we're going to get it wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, this can change, that there's freedom in that. But it also aligned with knowing what really fires us up.
Mm,
Like, phew, um, what brings us joy? Like, what brings us that most fulfillment in our lives of each and every day? Like, it may be tough, but I get to do this.
mhm,
Uh, in understanding, our I think with identity, going back to that, there's a spiritual side of that, and then there's also like an intellectual side.
mhm,
The spiritual side is knowing that our identity, who is it going to be found in God or not?
mhm,
People have to wrestle with that. It's kind of a non, easy one for us there. But then there's also this intellectual side of who I am. Like, what is my gifting? What is
mhm,
my strengths?
mhm,
What is things that come naturally to me?
mhm,
And we've had to figure that out over the years, kind of on our own.
mhm,
And if you're listening to this and you need, and somebody's telling you, an adult or something like, hey, check this, you might want to do this. Hey, listen to them, because that might be a
mm,
key indicator of helping you discover
mm.
what you are actually good at. But so there's an intellectual side as well.
So a big part of finding or unlocking your calling might be for someone listening is what is some of the pain you've experienced in your life
Hmm.
and how can that be redeemed into the purpose you're calling now? Who needs
Hmm.
you were able to heal from that pain or maybe you're working through healing. Who needs the person you needed most in your darkest days? Be that person to someone, I guess essentially is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which unlocked clarity for me because I was like, whoa, I can look down through my life and the pain points of things I've experienced. And I'm like, I can be the solution to that for someone else that's experiencing that same pain.
Exactly. And this comes back to a digital mentor said, hey, where's your purpose? It's on the other side of the most painful thing you experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Now, healing, you need to heal those things that have happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can heal, then you can help.
Mm-hmm. Heal first, then help. That's
Yeah,
good.
if you have not healed it, it's going to be very hard to help someone.
Yeah, just like an easy one to identify is weight loss. Let's say you've lost 50 pounds. Now you can help someone because you've
Yes.
healed
Yes.
and now you can help.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that's a foundational and a great thing that you brought
Mm.
up, of just of discovering that purpose,
Mm.
of is looking on the other side of that pain. And
Or even practically, like we're still in the calling. So we have identity and calling, listening to the people around you. What do they say or praise, encourage you in? Like what you're naturally good at. For me, I was like, I don't know what I'm good at.
mhm,
People said I'm good at this, but is that really like what fires me up, so to speak?
mhm,
But if you take notice, start being curious and notice what your friends around you, the people around you say about you, that can
mhm,
unlock clarity for you on like, whoa, I really do enjoy that. I can help people
mhm.
in this area.
And then the assignment is the third thing that we've talked about, and that's going to change.
Hmm.
May take you to Africa
Hmm.
or Australia or the West Coast, the East Coast, whatever it may be. The assignment is going to change.
You from moving forward, if you're a if you're a person that overthinks
Mm,
or is fearful of maybe getting it wrong or not sure, you're uncertain about what your assignment is. But the more I've realized is you need to just try things.
mhm,
Like put yourself out there and clarity begins when you step forward rather than just sitting and wanting it to drop from the sky. You need to just move
yeah.
through things quickly like, all right, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try with wisdom
Mhm.
and care, but at the same time, you can't just sit and wait. I think you have to move forward.
Yes. And it's easy to try to, I'm going to wait here until I get clarity.
Mm.
But no, action actually can produce clarity.
Hmm.
And there's a tension to live within that, though, to have some people with some wisdom around you in that. But
Hmm. Maybe if we review like just the framework so they can like look at their lives this week
hmm
and even me as we're talking about it, I'm like, I might wrestle with the second two a little bit
Hmm.
and see, because as a mom, it is very easy to get distracted and forget like why you're doing what you're doing, and to
Hmm.
take the identity as like I'm a mom, like
Hmm.
that's my identity. Well, it's what I do, but it's not who I am. And so the moment I take on that identity as who I am, chaos happens.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that framework is something you can continually come back to as a reminder throughout the week.
Absolutely. So once again, just to recap, that framework is simply of identity. Who are you?
Mm-hmm.
And and there's we're people of faith, so there's a spiritual side, and we put our identity in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
It's found in what He says, what the Bible says, what the text says about it. And then there's this understanding who I am as an individual. What's the gifts, talents, and abilities I have. So we how we have done that is through a lot of assessments and a lot of self discovery, group discovery together.
Mm-hmm.
But then that goes into calling. And then it's a question to ask your life this week is what is driving your schedule? What's driving your life? Is it calling or chaos?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And because if it's truly calling, you can endure a little bit of chaos. But if it's just chaos, you want to you want to set some time and
Get
work
clear
with.
on your calling so it doesn't feel so chaotic.
Yeah. And then the third one was assignment. The assignment has changed. And if anybody has known us knows that we've done a lot of different assignments over the years,
Mm-hmm.
if we want to call it that. And that's okay, but it's never detracted from the calling and the identity.
Mm-hmm.
And so, hey, once again, we hope that this has been a help to you. And as we are unpacking this, trying to unpack what it means to live on mission. And so, we'd love to hear back from you and hear feedback if this has been a help or if there's questions on this. So, you can either drop us a note in the comments and as well, and would love to connect. You can connect with us on social media as well, multiple different ways on Instagram, Facebook. You have your business choosing simple,
Mm-hmm.
and a community they can be a part of. I have my company, the On Mission Group. You can find those on social media as well, and would love to connect with you. And if this has been a help to you, and you know someone else that this could be of a help, hey, share it with them, and we can continue to live on mission together. And so, until next time.